Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront updates and some more Death Star content. In this video I wanted to talk about and show you a couple of different tips and tricks and just things that I think anyone who plays Battlefront might be interested in. It's going to be quite a mix of things, so I didn't really know what to title the video, but let's just jump straight into the goodies. The first thing I want to talk about is the Bryar Pistol. Most of you probably know that this weapon has a secondary fire capable of one-shotting normal infantry. But how strong exactly is this secondary fire? Well, the first thing I wanted to test out was the lock-on. As you can see, the lock-on is not at all as heavy as Lando's power blast, but you can still aim a little bit to the side and still hit the enemy. But if we move on to the actual power of this Bryar Pistol, we can see that it is quite broken. Let's start off with AT-STs. You can actually two-shot these if you hit them in the back, which is just insane, considering that this is a main blaster without any cooldown. The normal blasters or even the primary fire of the Bryar Pistol barely touches the AT-ST, whereas the secondary fire kills it faster than anti-vehicle weapons such as the ion torpedo. If you hit it from the front, you can still kill it in 4 shots, which is very fast. But how about ships then? Well, the Bryar Pistol actually one-shots them. So even though hitting them might be hard, it's still a guaranteed kill, especially if they're flying right towards you. As you can imagine, this weapon absolutely destroys heroes as well. It doesn't seem like you can actually headshot anyone, but it always does around the same damage, and against heroes like Vader it takes around 5 or 6 shots to kill them, but against weaker heroes such as Lando it just takes around 3 shots, which is insane. This weapon is extremely efficient to use in Hero Hunt, but it is pretty hard to hit with, especially against heroes like Luke, but if you do actually land a hit on them, they will take a lot of damage. And lastly, what about AT-ATs? Well, it is a lot more effective than using any other anti-vehicle weapon available in the game, so you might as well just use the Bryar Pistol all the time, because it deals a whopping plus 30 damage if you don't hit the weak spot, and 60 to 65 if you actually hit it, which is a lot more than the ion torpedo or even the smart rocket that usually only deals 35 damage. If you're on the rebel side, simply hide in the back of the map and fire as quick as you can with the Bryar Pistol, and the AT-STs and AT-ATs will die very fast. I can predict a nerf to the vehicle damage of the Bryar Pistol, but until then, make good use of it. While we're talking about destroying AT-ATs, how powerful is actually Chewbacca against the AT-ATs? Well, not as powerful as people claim. There was a couple of clips from Skirmish floating around where Chewie destroys the walker in a few seconds, but the AT-AT in Skirmish is actually a lot weaker than in multiplayer, and you actually deal extra damage in Skirmish as well, so all the testing we did in this video was performed in private matches, which is a big difference. From 10 Y-Wings I managed to take down the walker by 80%, which is still a lot, but something to keep in mind though is that this was without any enemies shooting at me at all. I could freely stand there and shoot on the weak spot, which wouldn't have been the case in a live game. I did however not have the max trait, as I only had 1 enemy to kill, and hitting the enemy walker doesn't get your trait up, so you need to kill enemies in between shooting the AT-AT, which makes it even harder. In summary, I can say that Chewie is definitely the strongest hero against AT-ATs, I won't deny that, but he will not single-handedly take down the AT-AT in 30 seconds. While we're talking about Chewie, I have a good tip for all of you complaining on him being too slow, courtesy of Tesco249. If you simply spam jump, you do cover ground faster, and you also become a harder target to hit. So make sure to make use of that space bar or whatever else you jump with. Also, while we're talking about movement, you can actually sprint with R2, something which I didn't realize until after the release. Simply hold down the normal sprint button and you will notice that he will move a lot faster. This comes in very handy if you're trying to cover those last couple of meters to the extraction point, and I see a lot of people not making use of it. Don't be one of those. Moving on, a good tip with both the TL50 repeater and Bryar Pistol is that if you're charging up the secondary fire, you can't actually sprint, which makes you very slow. However, you can actually roll and jump pack without cancelling the charge up. So make sure to make use of that for dodging enemies or just covering ground quicker. Lastly, we have a kind of stupid effect if you're playing Extraction. The new Healing Droid actually blocks the shipment from moving, which it's probably not supposed to do. All other equipment such as droids gets destroyed if you place it in front of the shipment, but not the Healing Droid. I had so much fun during the stream yesterday just putting up the droid and not even deactivating the shipment because it couldn't move anyways. I personally don't think this is a major issue, because the droid is destroyed in about 3 hits or with 1 explosive, so as long as you're aware of it, it's really easy to counter. I just thought it was a fun addition to the game mode. Another weird thing I noticed in Extraction if you're playing as the Imperials is that the shipment somehow triggers the laser trip mine even if it's not moving. So unfortunately I couldn't put up trip mines to kill the incoming rebels, because the mines just exploded as soon as I put them down. But that wraps up this video of tips and tricks and just general information. Let me know if you enjoyed it, and if you have any other cool tricks that you've noticed when playing the Death Star DLC or with the new equipment. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.